So as we continue along in all of the different categories that we're talking about with vision this week, that's the main focus of attention on this week's edition of Q&A. Macular degenerations also is another term that maybe a lot of people have heard, but don't really know what they are, what it is, or how do I know to look for it if I have it. What is macular degenerations?
So this is a degeneration, just like it sounds, of the macula of the eye. And the macula is at the back of the eye. This is where the eye and those light rays concentrate. And there's different types of macular degeneration. So in the normal eye, the macula is where the light concentrates. And in wet macular degeneration, which is less common than the dry macular degeneration, we have basically we're losing that macular density. And the macula of the eye, believe it or not, is more densely pigmented it's more like an orange pigment. Now this is really interesting because when we talk about that blue light radiation, so when the sun comes up in the morning, that's blue light radiation. Radiation's not a bad word. In this case, it's those rays from the sun are blue. They serve a specific purpose. So when I've traveled to different parts of the world, and this has always been so interesting to me, but I visited one of the blue zones and have interviewed the centenarians there, so the people that are living long, healthy lives. And one of the commonalities with the centenarians is that they wake up when the sun is rising in the morning. And why is that? And why do they have bounds of energy throughout the day? And they go to bed when the sun is setting. And why is that so interesting? Well, it seems like common sense, I think, to get up with the sun and go, settle down when the sun is going down. But it's that blue light wavelength in the morning rays of the sun that helps to turn off your melatonin, which is your sleep hormone, and it increases your serotonin levels and your cortisol levels and all those hormones that we need throughout the day to give us that energy so that we can get our work done and do all the things that we need to do in the day. So we need that blue light radiation when it's naturally occurring from the sun in the morning. That's very good for us. It wakes us up. One of the worst things that we can do is to be inundating our eyes with our cell phones. So it's funny, I'm looking for my cell phone. I don't have it here. When do we ever not have our cell phone close to us, or a tablet, or anything that is inundating our eyes with that blue light radiation? So this is something definitely in this century with all of our tech, and we're overly inundating our eyes with that blue light radiation. And maybe I'll show you this great demo now, Norm, because
Sure.
we can actually now see the difference and why it's so important. Because remember, we talked about blue light, but what counteracts blue light? Well, if you look at the color wheel, and if you're an interior decorator, thanks for chiming in, and we love to hear from you, but maybe you've not heard this before. So I know that all the decorators out there, maybe you're an artist, you know that on the opposite side of the blue light spectrum is the more orange and the orangey yellow pigmented. They're opposite each other on the color wheel. Why is that important? Well, yes, Mother Nature in her wisdom has made the macula of our eye that more orange pigment, and that's where macular degeneration, you are losing, your body is not inundated. You don't have enough of the lutein, the zeaxanthin to maintain that orange pigment at the back of the eye to protect from the opposite, which is that blue light radiation. I mean, it makes sense, doesn't it?
No, definitely. It does follow along with what you're talking about.
Absolutely. So let me show you this. So I can actually show you this. So what we have here is, and I'm putting on so this is tip number 1, is to find the blue light blocking glasses. That's a great thing for the children as well, to wear your blue light blocking glasses. Now, the other thing is to make sure that you're getting enough lutein in your diet. So the lutein, again, comes from anything that is orange pigmented, but sometimes it's the green foods as well. So kale, for instance, for whatever reason, is higher in the lutein, these specific carotenoids, and the zeaxanthin as well, to help to protect the eyes. So here we have a concentrated supplement that is concentrated in the lutein. You can see that it's a little bit orange pigmented, and that's what you're looking for when you have a high quality supplement. And what we're gonna do here is I'm gonna open up the lutein into some water. So this represents now that protection that it has on the back of the eye. And what I have here are some cards, and the cards have the blue light sensing material on them, and I have a blue light. So this is, wouldn't be the best thing to shine right into your eye, but you can see that blue light now, it has left a mark on, and that's not the best thing. That is not what we want. For instance, going right into our eyeball, is we do not want this happening. And essentially what we're doing when we have, that's very damaging to the macula of the eye, especially if you don't have enough lutein and zeaxanthin in your diet. And Mom always said, eat your carrots. Why did she say that?
Yeah,
well,
because rabbits can see really well.
They can.
You ever see a rabbit with glasses? That's what my mother used to say.
That's a good one. I love that, Norm. So here we go with that. So what we have now is the water. So remember I said that there's liquid in our eyes. So that we just have a bit of water in a dish, and this represents the liquid, the aqueous humor in our eyes. And what we have here is I've opened up that lutein capsule into the water as well. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put on both of my blue lights and shine that over that test strip that picks up that blue light, and we'll do that for a few seconds. And now you can see, Norm, that it was protected. So here we have the blue in the unprotected one, and here we have in the protected eye. So we can see that, and now it's fading away. But that is, it's fantastic. And this is
really
something that
it's very clear when you're doing it right away.
Absolutely. Right. And this is why it's so important to have enough of that lutein in the diet, wear the glasses, and whether that's for protecting the macula, for macular degeneration, but also for the cataracts as well. We always want to have that protective effect, and in our children especially. We have young kids. The other thing you can do on your devices as a quick tip is to set it to the night mode. So if you notice, if you're on a screen, and I did this live in the studios once because you know that I'm on national television here in Canada, and so the host was, and we were interacting, we were talking about the devices. So they had a tablet in the studio, and I couldn't look at it. It was so blue to my eyes because all of my devices, certainly at home, and for our children at home as well, we always set it to the night mode, which has more of that yellow hue. If it's too blue, if your screen is too blue, this is not healthy for your eyes. So do whatever you can right now. If you're watching, make sure that your devices are all on that night mode. And if you don't know, like we struggled in the studio that day, live on television, in front of millions of people, to try to switch the tablet to, we couldn't figure it out. So one of the techie guys had to come and help us out. But if you don't know, then ask somebody close to you, ask a youngster, usually under the age of probably these days like 10, that they'll be able to figure it out for you to put your device on your night mode. It'll really help.
What's great about this show too is that Q&A, questions with natural answers, with Dr. Janine, and remember to follow her on Instagram at Dr. Janine, spell it all out, DoctorJanine, is that Dr. Janine doesn't have to just speak in sound bites here. Here we can get a little bit more deeper, a lot more deeper into the issue actually.